Hello gamers, welcome to a guide that teaches you how to play Dragoon above average. This is not going to be the be-all end-all definitive guide on how to not be complete shit at Dragoon, but I'm going to tell you some of the basics and things you should probably know while playing. So step 1, you gotta look the part. You have to wear some nice armor that involves lots of spikes and purple and a big glowy spear in order to be really cool. The horns also do help, but those aren't exactly required. Next up is learning the rotation. We're going to start at level 50 and then we're going to advance every 10 levels, showcasing new skills and how you add them to your rotation. So when fighting as Dragoon, there's a couple things you're going to want to know. First is your first 1-2-3 combo that'll look something like this. That's going to be your damage combo. That will allow you to deal the most damage. However, there is a combo you should start out with first. That is called, I'm going to call that the disembowel combo. All that does is that'll buff your damage by 10%, and you should always have that buff up. This is what that'll look like. That is the combo that you want to start out with. That's the disembowel combo. You can kind of see by this little icon here, it says disembowel, damage dealt is increased. That means until that runs out, you're going to be getting 10% more damage on all of your attacks. Now you have these three icons here, the jumps. First is your normal jump. Second is called Spine Shatter Dive. And the third is Dragon Fire Dive. These can all be used in conjunction with each other as off-global cooldowns. However, it is smart to weave them in between your normal global cooldowns. Jump will jump you from the spot you were standing to the spot where the enemy is, then back to where you were standing. Spine Shatter Dive will jump you from where you were standing to where the enemy is, and the Dragon Fire Dive will do the same. However, it will deliver an attack with 380 potency to all enemies surrounding your target. However, you see two more buttons, Life Surge and Lance Charge. Completely ignore these on the side, these are just passive buffs that all DPS jobs get. Life Surge will guarantee critical damage for the next skill you use after using this. It only lasts for 5 seconds, so I would recommend clicking this right before using the attack. Lance Charge will just increase your damage by 15%. This will stack with Disembowel. So what you should do is click Lance Charge and then begin your combo from the rear of your enemy. Now, while we have full thrust proc, you want to hit Life Surge and deal some extra damage like that. However, you might have seen something called Chaos Thrust. If you stand behind the enemy, it will grant a damage over time effect, granting some damage over time onto the enemy. If you continue the combo from the rear, it will, instead of giving you 290 potency, it will hit the enemy with 330 potency, which gives you a little bit of extra damage. All these on top, stacked on top of each other, will give you some extra damage. So in high-speed situations, it should look something like this. And that is the basic rotation for Dragoon at level 50. Now, you may be thinking, oh, well you have some AoE attacks, right? That's what we have this move here called. This is Doom Spike. It hits all the enemies in a straight line in front of you. The only two AoEs you'll have by level 50 are Doom Spike and Dragon Fire Dive, so you're going to want to use them sparingly. You might have noticed these things on the side of my screen, the little orange, I don't need to do that, orange icons, level 1, level 2, and level 3. These are just different limit breaks. The first two are the same for all melee DPSs, which I'll show you right now. There's level 1. Now, level 3 is unique to each job. Each job has an individual level 3 limit break. This is what Dragoons looks like. What those do is essentially no special effects. They just deliver a lot of damage at once. You definitely want to use those if you're in a pinch or the boss is almost dead, or your party's almost dead, but you think you'll be able to push it out just that much further to end up finishing the boss. Next up, we'll be covering level 60 rotation. Alright, so here's what the level 60 rotation should look like. We target from the back, and then we begin. And you would just rotate back and forth like that. Now, you might have seen some familiar things, such as me doing the combos in order. However, you might have noticed these two buttons up here, Fang and Claw and Wheeling Thrust. Those are two new abilities you'll have by level 60. And now, you might notice a blue snake-like aura around me. That's called Blood of the Dragon. This will increase the potency of High Jump and Spine Shatter Dive by 30%, and it will also awaken this gauge on the side called the Dragon Gauge. This has a 30-second timer that allows you to get damage buffs on your two jumps, as well as some extra things right here. You can read up on this. So essentially, you want to have this up at all times. It isn't super important right now, but it will become incredibly important later. And you have another off-global cooldown, Gear Skogul, that does the same thing as Doom Spike, but it's off-global cooldown, so you can use it whenever it's up. I'd recommend using this off cooldown just to keep damage going strong. Alright, so you always want to start off with using Blood of the Dragon, and of course Lance Charge if it's up. And then do your Disembowel combo. Now, from the rear, you want to use Wheeling Thrust. Run to the flank, you want to use Fang and Claw. And then start up your combo. And then you can alternate back and forth like that. It's fairly simple. You don't get many new moves at level 60. Plus, you won't have your next attack in your AoE rotation. You just won't alternate between Doom Spike and Dragon Fire Dive whenever they're up. Pretty simple. Now we're going to go to level 70. Things will start getting complicated from here on out. Alright, here's where things are going to get a little tricky. You're going to unlock some more abilities, as you can see on my hotbar. You have Dragon Sight, which allows you to get another 10% damage, stacking on to whatever you have already. However, if you do use this on another DPS or party member, they get 5% damage as long as they stay pretty close to you. So it's something good to use during raids or roulettes, just to keep the damage going. And you see this move here, Mirage Dive. This is essentially an off-cooldown extra jump that does a potency of 300. And now, we'll show you what that happens, what it does, in a second. So, start off with Blood of the Dragon and Lance Charge. You do a Disembowel combo. Pop a Gear Skogul. Now we'll do Jump. And now we have Mirage Dive proc, so let's use that. As you can see on our Dragon Gauge, the eye had opened up. Run the black. And you basically just want to keep alternating here. Do a Disembowel combo again. I'm going to keep this going to show you one more thing as soon as we have another jump up. Now, if you're seeing skills that I'm not talking about, there is a reason for that. We'll do another Mirage Dive. Do some more jumps. And now we have a vibrating red eye, simulating what you might have seen with Nidhogg and Heavensward. And we have Gear Skogul procced now. We obviously can't use it again until it is off cooldown, but we'll get there. I might have messed up the rotation there, but that's fine. You're a DPS, nothing's really expected of you. So let's use another one of those. And now we have Nastrond. It's basically a buffed version of Gear Skogul, and it takes you into Life of the Dragon. This just gives you a stronger off GCD that also gets you a little bit of extra damage. Life of the Dragon will be a little bit more important in 10 more levels at level 80, but for right now, this is really all you can do. And if you're lucky like that, you'll have another one straight up and ready to go. Alright, so that was the level 70 rotation. Next up, we're going to be going at level 80, the current max level. Are you excited yet? Have you noticed anything changed on my hotbar? You probably shouldn't have. Nothing really did change. At level 80, you will have unlocked all of these skills you can see here. I'm not putting Piercing Talon on my hotbar, essentially. You might have seen that. That just gives you a range attack at the potency of 150. It's just good for when you're between trash pulls and dungeons. So, your level 80 rotation will be essentially the same thing. However, you will have a new move. Let's check it out. Ignore me forgetting to use Blood of the Dragon. Now, True Thrust will be procced under Raiden Thrust. It's essentially the same move, just a little bit stronger, with a much cooler animation. Now, I should mention, on any DPS job, if you can't hit the positionals based on where the boss is located, don't worry, that's what True North is for. Now, let's go into Life of the Dragon, and now you see Stardiver is active now. This is an extra jump that will deal some massive damage. Let's use Full Thrust, and then try it out. It's an extra jump that will do a ton of damage. You're usually only able to use it once per Blood of the Dragon phase. However, it is some extra damage with a potency of 600, and it is also an AoE attack, so that gets you your AoE combo going. So that's everything that's new at level 80 for single target. Now we'll talk about AoE. Of course, you have Dragon Fire Dive and Stardiver, but you also have your full 3-hit combo. So let's start off by doing Doom Spike. Then we go on to Sonic Thrust. And then we have Curfin Torment. They all essentially do the same thing. However, it gets stronger and stronger, plus these two extend the Blood of the Dragon gauge by 10 seconds to a maximum of 30. It's not super powerful, something you should really make sure you do. However, it is helpful if you're doing trash packs. And that is essentially a beginner's guide on how to do your Dragoon rotation pretty well. You know, suboptimally, but something that you're going to remember pretty easily. Now, I'll consider doing other guides on other jobs, but for right now, this is how you do Dragoon pretty good.